Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you here today to the Jackson County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, January 17th of 2023. And good morning to Don. Don Franker's with us, and then Peggle is our county supervisors. We have Lisa and Bjorn from the auditor's office. Luann is our administrative assistant. Mary is here from the media. And we start this morning with Lori Rolling, our Jackson County zoning administrator. Good morning, Lori and Ruth.
Hi, good morning. Last week when we talked, we were talking about, a lot of discussion went into Leisure Lake. The abatement nuisances, and Don had some concerns for John Keys is still trying just to put together some case law to give you a peace of mind also. You did ask me to reach out to Brad Coranda, and I did, and his understanding is as long as he was invited on the neighbor's property, he can view an ordinance, or excuse me, view a nuisance from another property, and it doesn't have to be from a public right of way, as long as he has permission to be.
And I
Where
did
he
some
is.
checking as well with another zoning person. They said on a private property next to it, they consider the driveway of that property part of a public access because it's for the public, and says that can be used. So, but they didn't really think like if you can't walk into a backyard
Right.
of the neighbor, but if it can be seen from the driveway
Oh.
of the neighboring property,
Okay.
that is also viewed as a public entrance.
Okay,
So,
but if the neighbor invited you onto their property, you.
well, that
you'd be
was
able-
the name, that's what they, like I say, that's where I just wanted to say, I'm also doing checking just to see, to make
Mhm.
sure I'm right, and they were like, so if we're looking at Mike's property
Mhm.
and I'm his neighbor and I want to invite you over to look at the thing, they were saying that they could come on through the driveway as long as that driveway goes into the property, because it's viewed as a public access.
What's driveway, yours or his?
Mine,
Oh, but then what if we were in the backyard? We took a walk through your backyard, and, cause I couldn't see the.
that's what I'm still trying,
Okay.
I'm waiting for a phone call to get
Okay.
You
more.
can certainly walk on the neighbor's property if he invited you to his property.
That would be my understanding, and that was Brad's understanding.
Yeah.
And that was, I did talk to some other zoning administrators also.
Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
fine. I just want to make sure, because that's just, there were
Right.
several times throughout my city history where they were like, very specific, so I
Yeah,
just want to make sure we're right.
and was it, was that correct at the time? Cause Brad's understanding, of course, is something different than what you were being told, it sounds like.
We'll see.
Okay.
Continue.
All right, so I did send you guys out a letter, so. I still feel the need, we need to move on this. We have people depending on us and people calling me, people. Yeah, multiple times, different property owners from Leisure Lake. When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do this? Well. Since we're kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see what, what John advises us to do. This isn't, this letter is informal. Advising them that. We're looking to do something, and it gives us an extra 4 weeks to the end of February to get our ducks in a row and do what we can and need to do. And Mike, your concern is why I put your name on the bottom. Well, we wouldn't have to. Bjorn, you have that ordinance. It's gonna be under section 2.
My point was, Lori, I guess, this issue or them issues over there of course, they're ongoing.
Mhm,
And they've been there since the onset, I should say.
mhm,
And I certainly want to clean things up if we can
mhm,
legally.
mhm.
We want to pursue it, but again, we gotta make sure we got our ducks in a row before we pursue it so that we're doing it in the right fashion.
Absolutely.
I guess if this nuisance or if the letter's coming from zoning, I'm assuming that zoning will sign it.
Okay, no
As
problem.
your department head.
No problem. I don't have a problem with that.
And if the owner has an issue and brings it to the entire board, I'm okay with that.
Okay, and this is informal, so this is not a problem for this to be signed by me. And if you look at the first one, example I gave you, the letter from David Manning on June 9th, 2005. That was an informal, him just saying, hey, there's an issue, talk to me, and if we have to issue a notice, we will. And then 3 weeks later, a notice of violation. His looks a little different than the other ones that we're gonna see. So he had a notice of violation, which was issued by the Board of Supervisors. And going to section 2, it's under the Article 2, section 2, I'm sorry. Okay, I see it now.
Give me a
So,
little plus there, will you, Wheeler? Up on top, give me a. Oh.
and that's.
Yeah.
That's
Come
why I
on.
wanted
There
to
you
do
go.
all of that. And that's why I want to do that, because you guys fussed at me for not having things big enough. I'm like, we can work with that. So, now this is a courtesy letter that
Yeah.
we have in front of us. So this does not really talk to what I'm gonna talk about. Section 2, notice to abate nuisance. Whenever the board or other authorized county officer finds that a nuisance exists as defined in this ordinance, the board shall issue cause to be served upon the property owner a written notice to abate the nuisance with a reasonable time after notice. That is why I thought maybe you guys wanted, I didn't want to be presumptuous and put my name on it. But you can see like in Manning's, he signed his courtesy notice. The Board of Supervisors is the one that basically signed the violation notice on this one a few weeks later. And I found several examples also.
So, but, I mean, the zoning administrator also signed this violation notice, correct? That's what it says. here.
That's a different one. Yeah, different. Yeah. And my thing is, I don't want to be presumptuous on my part, assuming that you guys just want me signing this when technically I would like to see you give me permission to go forward with these. And otherwise they're going to have to come before the board to be signed.
Okay, this is just my opinion. I certainly feel that we should, again, move forward cautiously. And do our due diligence in pursuing this. Do we have any history? What of any fines or any abatements?
Yes.
I don't recall in my tenure of ever abating in. Or finding any. Well, the only fine I ever remember was west of town here. That's the only one I ever recall.
Yeah, and truthfully, from what we've been able to find, I didn't find any fines, did you?
No, I found a lot of notices and a
Sure.
lot of violations. that
And
were
you,
sent
and
out.
you assume that they're taken care of, or that, was there a follow-up to them?
I have not seen
Yeah.
a follow-up.
We have.
That's my guess.
We have not seen any follow-ups, and that's a problem. That's a big problem. If you're gonna start this, we need to be able to follow it through and put some teeth behind it. I mean, otherwise, I think it's one of the things I was told by Leisure Lake property owners.
You're
Multiple
talking about the association now?
members,
Okay,
not the association, not the
Okay.
board, but
so what's the
members.
association saying about it?
Well, remember, we had a meeting back in June.
Yeah, I know
You-
that's
you were
done.
there,
I can't
Lisa
remember
was
what I did
there.
yesterday, so I don't know what
Well,
that meeting was.
They gave me permission to be on their property to enforce ordinances. And they agreed that we were gonna work in tandem to try to get behind what is going on in Leisure Lake and do nuisance abatement. They agreed to take the lead, which we patiently waited for them to take the lead and get the first round of notices out, which did not happen until the first week of December. After that happened, they asked, how soon were we gonna follow up? Because they wanted me to do it right that minute.
Well, we waited and waited, let's, yeah.
But I says reasonably, I think we can make this happen by the middle of January, where we can get our notice of violations sent out.
Okay, again, understand that weather is gonna come into play here for abatements and whatnot, so a time frame is gonna be,
Well,
I mean, whatever we issue for a time frame is gonna be considered to. I mean, they're not gonna abate it with 2 foot of snow on it. either.
right, and that's why that
Or
first
flows
notice,
down. Most of
We-
this stuff's gonna be frozen down at this point.
I talked to the Leisure Lake Property Owners Association treasurer, a secretary that I deal with the bulk of the time. She's the one that did the original notice, and my concern was that our deadline for abatement wasn't gonna match theirs. Because I thought the reasonable deadline would be 90 days, which would have taken it out to April 30th. So that was my, the notices went out in the middle of January. I wasn't gonna go with the typical 30-day abatement. I was gonna recommend a 90-day abatement, which would be the 30th of April. And if we go this route, if we go the route of the courtesy letter saying this is what we're looking to do, and we have our notices being served by the end of February, notice of violation being served by the sheriffs or whatever we need to do with that, I'd still recommend us keep the April 30th deadline. Cause it's gonna thaw in March, April. They know they're gonna have to start prepping for it. They're getting a nice little courtesy notice saying, hey, by the way. So I still don't have a problem sticking to that April 30th, but also in our ordinance, we give them the opportunity to request for consideration, which is in section 5. So if there is a reasonable consideration that they want the board to reconsider whether the nuisance exists or to extend the time, they have that right.
Correct.
When the Leisure Lake Association, Property Owners Association sent out their notice of December 1st, what did they say? Or are they in violation of the association covenants too?
Yeah.
Or are they just leaning on the county?
No. They are working in tandem. There's things that we decided or could see in their paperwork and within our ordinance, things that they had more teeth to run after. And there was things that we had a longer arm and could do more to get it taken care of. The one thing that we don't have as much control over or as much reach over would be like, the tall weeds, the weeds and
Vegetation is
the
hard.
vegetation. So that's where they're gonna have to work. But yeah.
Well, you
it's
can't
just
move the
kinda-
top of the tires, so you gotta move the tires before you move
I
the
know.
vegetation. So,
I know,
I guess,
so. but
Lori, do
no,
we have a copy of that letter that the association sent so we can keep in our file?
I thought I'd emailed it to the board,
Well,
right after I
didn't
got
go
it.
back and
but
search, but if,
I
I mean,
will
if we're gonna
resend
have
it.
a file and have a date by date how we're processing here, do you know approximately how many that we're talking about?
50 homeowners.
So
50
I
properties.
see the issue of, you picked on my neighbor, you didn't pick on this one and you picked on that one and I see some of that coming too. unless it's-
No, I don't think we're gonna have, if they do, I will make sure they know that I am not singling them out. If their neighbor has a violation, I missed it, I will apologize profusely and get on that
Okay,
violation.
so I mean,
But-
again, that's a large number for percentage wise.
But that's why we need to do this as a blanket. That way we can have that, well, he's getting away with it. Why can't I? Did you send him a notice? Yes, I sent him a notice. So I am doing my best to avoid that. And if I drop the ball on one, I will surely pick it up and make sure it gets taken care of.
Okay, so I guess as far as I'm concerned, you have my blessing to move forward, like, as you said,
The courtesy
as,
letter,
as legally as we can.
okay,
And pursue this in fashion that is set by our ordinance and or, a legal fashion anyway, so.
absolutely.
And you were here just today for an update, correct? No action to be taken, so that was just my perspective on it.
Yes,
Did
so
Joe give you a time frame when he's gonna be able to kind of address it?
he's hoping to have it done next week, well, maybe this week. But the hope was to have it finished before next Tuesday. Because what I would like to do is answer any questions you guys have about this initial courtesy letter. And with me not being here, I would still like to have you have enough information to feel comfortable that this be sent out and be able to vote on that next week.
No, I mean, I read it. I don't have an issue with it other than I signed it.
It is, Lisa, is this something we have to, they don't have to vote on this? Okay,
Stamp it.
okay, so no vote has to be taken on this and we could
In my opinion.
act? What are you guys comfortable
No,
with?
I mean, you're working against our ordinance. I feel like you're working,
Yeah, as
you're
long
doing
as
your,
following
you're
the
doing your
rules.
job. We don't need to give you permission to do your job, so that's.
Can we get that in writing?
Step over the line.
Okay. No, sir, I don't have any intentions on doing that. And if I do, I know you'll rein me back in.
Well, we appreciate the update, Lori, and again, you know, that was my opinion on it, so
Okay.
everybody else is on board, I don't know.
Going forward, when we do get to the violation notice, you can see we have, it's been done multiple ways, and I've even found ones when Buck was the chairperson, you know, with him doing these type of, where the board of supervisors is the one that issued it. So how do you guys want to see that going forward when we start this process with Leisure Lake?
Isn't it spelled out in our nuisance ordinance, how this is done? Well, so I think you send a courtesy letter like you did.
Well,
And then after,
that's not spelled out.
okay, I get it, but then we send a letter, whether it be certified or whatever it is, it's gotta be a procedure here.
Okay, so whether the board or other authorized county officer finds that a nuisance exists in this ordinance, the board shall cause to be served on the property owner a written notice to abate with a reasonable time after that notice. So the board shall cause to be served. So are you giving that, letting me be the authorized officer and
So
authorizing? me
here's
to
how we
clean it, or
normally
you
done it
have-
in my tenure here again, and for nuisances, they've come in here. Somebody has filed a complaint, of course,
Mhm.
and then they come in here with pictures and normally one or all of us will go look at it and say, yeah, it certainly appears to be a nuisance. Or a health hazard or whatever it may be. And then we proceed with the letters like we're supposed to legally. Whether you've got X amount of time to clean it up, or then we come in and abate it.
Okay.
We have one going on for 32 years, so.
Or
Yeah.
do you normally give 90 days or is it normally 30?
It's normally 30, but due to the winter weather, I feel that
Let's
90 days.
Add that into our. When we send that out, I would add that in, so that way you don't get. Well, you're only giving me 30 days and somebody in Leisure Lake got 90, why is it,
Okay.
you know? We could say.
Is that good with you guys?
Yeah, well, if we're doing them all the same, like I said, there's
Due
gotta.
to the weather conditions, and that should be anytime if it's in the winter, no matter where it's at,
I
I would
agree.
think.
I agree. Yeah, and yeah, spelling that out instead of just doing it makes great sense. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just think there has to be a step-by-step procedure that
Yeah.
needs to be followed.
And there really is, but you know, I just see different ways of doing things. So you said typically you would go out as a board or as a board member and look at the violations before authorizing the zoning director to send out notices. Is
I
that
guess
correct?
normally the pictures would come in here, we'd take a look at the pictures and read the complaint, of course, and then. You know, if
Okay.
we're concerned or have issues, we
Okay.
would visually look at it and say, well, absolutely, that appears to be a nuisance or a health hazard, and we need to follow through with it. So, of course, we all know we're gonna have some resistance here, so.
Yeah. So with Leisure Lake,
And
I-
not just Leisure Lake, I mean, there's other areas in this county that can be an eyesore at
Right.
times.
and I agree with that. And right now, we can't hit the whole county proactively because we don't have the manpower, or the resources. And you guys would, would really have your plate full, so would I. And we wouldn't address them all. That'd be where we'd fall under the, well, what about so-and-so? So, but I think the approach that we're using is gonna help get rid of some of that. Well, you're giving him special consideration. And that's what I'm trying to avoid at all costs.
Okay,
So-
I think we're on the same page. Yep, come up with a policy or a procedure, how we're gonna act, and we'll give you permission to send the letter and
Okay, is,
appreciate the update.
am I legal to ask, to bring something else up about CP on an email I just got? Or should I just send you an email?
I would say it's not on the agenda. I mean,
I'll send you an email.
inform us and we'll go from there.
Okay,
Thank you.
you bet.
At this time, is there any visitors or citizens via Zoom or I don't see any in the room? Would like to comment or? Not seeing anyone, we would invite Marty Hoodlick, our Jackson County Maintenance Supervisor, for an update. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning, how we doing today?
Good.
I'm just here for an update. Things that I've been working on. And nothing really major, but we're gonna start at the top. The door handle on the adult probation officer wasn't working right. We worked on that. The women might like this. We worked on the women's toilets. I think I got them to, when you flushed them, just before the water went to shut off, it would squeal, I would say. We turned the water pressure down in the valve in between them. I think that may have taken care of them. I got 5 of them in the building and they were the only 3 that would do that. And I've changed parts in them, called the company, they never had a concern on it. Changed a bunch of plugins throughout the building. Up at the care facility, we had a unit vent. A unit like that leaked water. We got it shut off. When I say we, I mean Jared Manning. He kind of fills me in so I can fill you folks in. We're gonna have to have a new unit put in there because it's so old, there's no parts available.
So is this the same unit that we talked about that Heartland Mechanical worked on?
Correct. And
Okay, so an update would be that we had it worked on and they got it working temporarily.
what they did is they just closed it off. It doesn't work. It's just looped around and back up and it don't go through the radiator, so to say.
But the radiator itself still throwing some heat, correct?
No.
Okay.
According
So they
to
were-
Jared.
Okay, so they were concerned, of course, and the bid that come in from them was anywhere from 8 to 12 months out. And I suggested, and me and Marty talked about it, that we get other bids. It was certainly under our comprehensive plan quote.
And they are coming. I did get a
So-
couple more people come and look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're there yet or not, but they are.
Keep them a
We're
little
involved.
honest, I mean, that's our job is to let them do that, I think. So we are getting up more bids for that anyway.
Yeah.
So those are those bids that were emailed out, like there was 2 bids. Whether, is that what we're talking about?
No,
One for like 8 or 9,000, one for like 12,000?
I'm gonna say yes, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I don't know if that's, I mean, before we get other bids, I'd be careful about
Yeah.
letting numbers out to the public, but.
Yeah. And also up there, we had a couple walk-in coolers that were low on Freon or something, I'm not quite for sure, but we got them both repaired. I give the bills to the county attorney, he's gonna, cause some of this we pay for, some of it they pay for, and then some of it's a 50-50. And he's gonna look that up and let me know on that. I haven't heard back from him yet, but he will. All right,
It's all basically dissected in the lease contract with Andrew Jackson, so
yes.
it's just a matter of looking up what's in the lease contract.
See who's doing what.
Who's paid for it.
The door between the county attorney's office himself and what I think is gonna be the new juvenile probation officer.
Right.
Back years ago, we took the door out. Don't know why, but we did. I think to make it quieter, if I remember right. But anyway, now they want the door back in. The door's gone. We went through the hospital 2 or 3 times to look to see if we could find a door that would work in there. We found a couple, one was wood and the other one was steel with a glass door. I contacted him several times. He's supposed to get back to me, but he hasn't. So one day I was going through the office and right inside where the secretary sits, there's a door that goes into a storage room. And I asked John if he ever uses that door because it's always open every time I go in there. And he said, no, I said, can we take that door off, put it around there? And he said, certainly. So I did that. Got it to work. And then Lisa has some vaults down, correct me if I'm wrong, has some vaults down in the basement. Cause Lori would appreciate a door that was glass on the room that's going in behind the kiosk. I don't, are you folks aware of that?
Yeah,
Okay, so I took the steel door off of there. Took it down in the basement, grabbed the door off of the least secured vault, would I say?
We consider it the file room.
Okay, and put it on there, and then I will take I got the door down there, but I haven't got it back on. And for reasons I don't know, you think the door come off, it would go right into the other hole. The hinge is all lined up, but I had to cut it to get it to fit in the door. But it looks good. We will paint it to make it match. So I got that up, done. There were 7 filing cabinets in that room. We took them down to in the basement to the clerk's vault, put them in the middle there to make them fit. This room has a extra air conditioner, ceiling mounted to cool the room in the summertime because of the equipment in there. I've never seen it work, but they want it to work just in case, because now there's gonna be a person in there full time. Bjorn turned it on, the fan come on, but it wasn't blowing cold air, so I had Bernie's from Preston come up and look at it. There was no Freon in it. He put a pound of Freon in it along with dye, and then when the weather warms up, they will retest it to see if it's leaking or what happened. Apparently it's leaking because it's not Freon, but they'll see where the leak's at. But the weather won't allow that right now. I got bids coming from the carpet. I just want to make the board aware that that carpet is glued down on tile that it has asbestos in it, and when you tear the tile up or tear the carpet up, the tile may come up, and then we may have to hire somebody to clean it up, because you can't take that tile out without, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, you gotta have somebody remove the tile, and it's pricey. Okay, but if the tile don't come up with the carpet, we're okay.
Be careful.
so we've been through this before at the senior center also, and when we went through it at that time, if I remember correctly, we were allowed to cover it.
Yeah, as long as you don't disturb it, but if it starts coming up with the carpet, then you gotta take care of it. You gotta take it all. That's was my understanding.
Okay.
All right. The furnace down at the jail site in the utility building, I had changed the filters in there. Just so you know, that filter for that furnace is $43. And I went down there this morning, I gotta dump the water in because there's no drain in there, and the furnace condensates, and we got it in a garbage pail. So about every 3 days I go down there. If John isn't there, I dump it. And I'm thinking we're gonna need a new filter in there because it's getting dirty.
How old is that furnace?
It's brand new.
Yeah, I know that, but a month, 2 months?
The
The
filter,
furnace and the filter. How often are you gonna have to replace it?
well, I think this is the deal, Don. The plumbers are parking their skid loader and track hole in there. And I think that's where a lot of the dirt's coming from. I think once we get that taken care of and we don't have that, I think we'll be good, every 6 months or so. I can't say that, but right now there's a lot of dirt and stuff in there, and when it dries out, the dust flies.
We can eventually get a drain in there, so you don't have to go down every 3 days and dump a pail.
Yes, it's ran to the curb, but it's not hooked up, and I don't believe it'll get hooked up until next spring. Okay, it's ran to the curb. but I don't, when they hook the jail up, I think it gets hooked up. I could be lying to you and I'm not doing it on purpose, but that's what I think happening, all right? It's ran to the curb, but it isn't, because we gotta do a curb cut the highway and stuff, or the road, the blacktop, and they didn't want to do it until they're ready to go with it. I will double check on that and let you know for sure, but that's what I'm thinking. Let's see. The wash machine at the jail is leaking. I got them coming, they'll be here tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be under warranty, because that's fairly new. I don't know that for sure, but I will find that out tomorrow. The light on the flagpole quit working. And come to find out the wire is fed from the parapet wall on the north door, goes all the way up to the flagpole. Somewhere in there, it broke, so we're gonna have to repair that. So unless I run something on top of the ground, we're not gonna have a light on the flagpole. If you want me to do that, let me know and I will do that. You know, we can run something temporary up there, because I know people drive by and want to know why there isn't a light on the flagpole. With the help from the county engineer and Luann and Lisa, we're gonna replace some of the cement along the courthouse here, because when we get a big rain, the water comes in, goes over the curb and down the window, or it comes in here. So we're gonna funnel the water so it goes out that way. Back in the day, we redid the parking lot, and it made, when they put the concrete on, it made it so it was flush with the top of the parapet wall, or the retaining wall, whatever you wanna call. And then it would go over, and then we put a little slab of cement on top of that. Well, it leaks underneath it and goes down the window, and then it funnels around and comes in here. Would that happen, Luann, twice? Do you?
More than that.
Half a dozen, at least half a dozen times.
Yeah, so Mike and his crew went out and measured up, drew a plan, and then I went back to Mike after I looked at it. And he did the bid sheet for me, because they do it all the time, and I, maybe once in my lifetime. And then,
So we're talking about the spec sheets,
Yeah.
so basically, did I read 4,200 square feet, somewhere in that range? So it's gonna slope away and it's gonna swale in the middle and come either way, either east or west, is that
yeah,
right?
on the south side, some of it'll go back out the driveway, and some of it'll come around here, and then it'll go out into the lawn there. It won't come toward the building. Right now, everything that comes in that parking lot comes toward the building. And we're fine on a little rain, but when we get them 4 or 5 inches, it just floods everything. I don't know if it was Mike or who it was, we pumped out 600 gallon out of the basement one year, because it dumped it down the window well and made it up to about the 3rd window, and then the bottom pane broke. And it just devastated the whole room down there in the extension office. So that'll take care of that.
Just a general question. This has been happening for years, why are we just fixing it now?
The wheels of government turn slow.
Well, and we had to actually budget for it, we did some temporary fixes by putting a curb out here
Right.
and keeping it from the sidewalk. Running it away down over here, and basically it's time for a fix.
So we're gonna redo that whole parking lot out there.
Most of it.
Like 12 foot out from the building. On the south side, and then it goes out, there's a couple pieces that are really cracked up. So we're gonna replace them also. They didn't need to be, but we are gonna do that, and then it's gonna come down 3 inches below the wall that's there. And then there's the stairs to the basement. We're gonna put a little ramp to it, so you can walk without stumbling down in there if you ever have to go in there now. Cause that's how we haul stuff down in the basement. And then it'll come around and it'll be like this, right in this area here, so that it funnels it out into the lawn, and it won't come anywhere near the building. That's about it. Oop. Oh, when we get all done moving here, I know it was brought up, the stuff in the north lobby. When we get all done moving here, we'll get rid of everything that's in the north lobby, but I think Becky's taking some of that stuff. The new secretary, again, if I'm wrong, the new secretary's taking some of the desks out there. And then we'll get rid of the rest of that stuff, cause there's stuff in the basement after the sale that's there, and we'll load it all up and get rid of it.
Okay, yeah, don't be afraid to get rid of that stuff in the basement beforehand if we can.
Well, they're loading up, some of them filing cabinets that nobody bought. We're gonna take down, Secretary Rhodes wanted a couple of them, so we're gonna take them down to them. All right,
Okay, just.
right, and then the rest of it, we're gonna take to the scrapyard and donate the money to Clinton Engines,
Just do it presentation.
all right? Cause we've tried to sell it and give it away and nobody wants it.
So. The flooring, are you getting bids and proceeding with it instead of coming back and getting permission or something we can move forward with? We can't wait 2-3 weeks to get a bid and.
Well, everybody that's looked at it bid on it,
They
they're
have
gonna,
already?
yes, and they're gonna email the bid back to me. I think, did the Tills drop his off at you in your office? Okay, he was supposed to drop it off. I will find out. The gentleman from Bellevue was here this morning at 5:30 and measured it, and he said like tomorrow he'll give me his.
Yeah.
Once I get a price, I will okay it with you folks, and then be done.
These people placing a bid, are they gonna be able to, if the tiles start coming up, will they be able to abate it? Or are we gonna have to stop everything and get somebody else?
We're gonna have to probably stop and get the company out of, I believe it's Manchester, that we always get. But I can't predict that. I went in there, what I did is I went in, there's a tear in the carpet and I looked underneath there, I just lifted up a little bit and it's underneath there and it's that 9x9 tile. And we've had it removed before and has asbestos in it. So if it happens,
I just didn't know if any of these companies or flooring companies around here have that certification to do it, that they could.
not that I'm aware of it. Every time, I can't believe the guy, well, can't remember the guy's name, but I'm pretty sure he's out of Manchester that we have to do it.
Okay,
It's been several years since we've had to have that done.
I do have one question for the board.
Yeah.
It was this morning when I was running around the courthouse here. Mike was moving some equipment out of the front lobby. And I just casually said to him, what do you do?
Brought it in, we got it from the storage unit.
So they went down to the Peace by Fire building, and it's my understanding that the clerk's office wants the big table removed that's currently in the magistrate courtroom.
And I don't know if it's the clerk's office or if it's the guard is the only guy that ever brought that up to me.
So now we have this big table.
And
What are you gonna do with it?
Is it
And
ours or
can we-
theirs?
it's ours.
And they're requesting, equipment that we got from somewhere. I'm not saying to do it, I'm not saying not to do it, I'm informing the board of what's going on, and if that equipment was designated for someplace else, it's not gonna happen because they've just.
The problem they're having is it's one table and sometimes you get all the people sitting there and they don't like that. It's too close. They used to have that up in the courtroom too. And they separated so that you can separate the two groups. Yeah, yeah.
So you're saying they're taking equipment from someplace else to put it in there?
We
Go ahead.
got equipment from the hospital.
Right,
And we stored it down there.
Yeah.
So Mike went down, they asked if we had a couple tables, I said we checked, Mike went down there and there's 2 tables down there. He brought one table back, there's 3 or 4 of these tables down there. He brought one back to see if the magistrate judge likes it. And then if she did, then we were gonna switch them out.
but we don't know if somebody else has laid claims to it.
Right, there was no name on it or anything like that.
so let us do this in our free time here. We'll take a look at both tables and
Okay, the
maybe.
table that we got is in the north lobby. And the other tables in the little small courtroom.
And see what they want. Do they want one or two or whatever they
Yeah,
want?
they would like two
Well, we'll take a
chairs
look at
big
it.
enough for two chairs like this to sit at. All
We can
right,
Certainly take a look at it.
anything else?
We don't have anything in the basement that would be sufficient.
No.
Okay.
No. Anything else?
No, you're getting bids for you're gonna send out RFP for the concrete and
Yep,
you're getting bids for the cedar and you're getting bids for the floor.
and I'm going back with Mike and we're gonna redo the outside of the building, have it sealed, replace some of the stone. And I'm gonna see if he will help me with that like he did the concrete. Okay, I got the specs on that, I just need to have it drawn up so we can put it out for bid.
For what?
To change the stone on the building, there's some of the stone is bad and then you gotta seal it like every 5 years and it's due. Okay, we're gonna replace like where you come in the door out here, that half of that brick's gone, or it's Indiana limestone, half of it's wore off and low. So we're gonna replace that, then 2 or 3 pieces up here by this door. I'm sure it's when we put salt down or chloride, it deteriorates the stone. And then we'll seal the whole building. Okay, and they'll do the joints and stuff like that to keep it so water don't come in the building.
Okay, keep us posted.
Okay. Done.
Thank you, Martin.
Done. Congratulations on your victory.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, I did it already. Have a good day.
Flipper. Thanks, Marty.
Yep, bye now.
I'm sorry, we were past the visitors or citizen section. Are you here to approach or have a,
Yes, I'd like to speak to the board for a minute if I could, please.
think we can do that?
Thank you. Hi, you want me to come up here?
Sure, right at the
Okay.
turntable.
All right. Hello, my name is Henry Kramer and I own the property just to the west of the Welcome Center. And I mean, technically my property borderline is the Welcome Center is actually north of me. I own a triangular piece that it's 3.74 acres. And since you've put it up for sale, I've had a few people approach me about wanting to purchase my property there. But when the shared county engineer put in some survey stakes, they were just a lath, piece of lath with a pink survey marker. He actually put it south of where it should be, south and west. So really where that marker is now is, and it's not a recorded marker, it's just a temporary. But it's giving my driveway and the only access off the highway to the Welcome Center property. And I just would like to address that before you sell the property to somebody and becomes a matter of litigation for me and the new neighbor. And I wouldn't be neighborly with my new neighbor. I don't want to start off on the wrong foot, and I don't want to sell this property to the people that approached me about it. And I'm telling them, here's your driveway. And I went through the proper channels to get my driveway. The engineer from the DOT came down and actually physically marked where the center of my driveway had to be. I got some copy of the deed from actually Lisa. And on here, it says, cause the property was actually surplus property from the state when the DOT put in or widened 67, you know, when they changed the whole approach, you know, 70 years ago, I believe.
64 or 67?
64.
Yeah.
Well, they're technically both there, but I
I get it.
64. It said direct access to primary road Iowa 64 is prohibited except at station 1366+00. That is exactly where my driveway is. And to the, like I said, to the west, if you.
We're working on it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We're gonna pull up the Beacon website, so the board can see what we're talking about.
Yes.
So what's highlighted, of course, is the Welcome Center.
Okay, can I just point at it to?
Mhm.
Okay.
Let them zoom in here. a little bit.
Okay, right here is our corner, that I believe he marked. But really, the right of way comes out here. There's a right of way post. You can't really see it right here, but there's a state of Iowa blue sign right here. And if you were to take this straight line right to that sign right there, there's two railroad, 3-inch railroad rails that actually mark the right of way. And this is my driveway here, and it comes straight up, and then it goes up like this along this fence. Well, really, this marker is like right here. The temporary one. It goes south, and really this line should be a continuation straight east, and it should come to this point right here. But, and I understand that Beacon is just a guide, you know what I mean, but this and. this is-
So Lisa, there is a survey of that property, of course, and the pins are marked. And it was my understanding that the assistant engineer found all the pins except the, I would call it the northeast, is that?
So I also referenced, and I gave Henry that same piece of paper that you and I received from Alex. That talked about that he had located the pins. And that he was unable to locate that other pin. So I gave that to Henry. And I said, this is what we received. We asked those questions prior to putting this property up for sale. This is what we received from Alex. And there's still a little bit of concern about the property line.
Yes, I've reached out, I actually, Lisa gave me these phone numbers to call, Alex Davis and, Mike Weber, the surveyor that, Mr. Davis engaged to actually do the survey. And I tried several times to reach by this number and I haven't got a hold of him yet. But, Mr. Weber, I spoke with him quite lengthy and he said he did, the legwork or the paperwork for it. But he was about 50 to 75% completed with the survey, and he got a call back from Mr. Davis telling him he did not need to complete the survey. And but Mr. Weber did not do any of the field work. He only did the paperwork part of it, the research. And when I spoke with him, he told me that I was correct, that it really should be the right-of-way sign should be my east corner of my property. And
So where the point is, you're agreeable, that is marked correct there, you're just saying
this
okay,
this
you're
one
saying
is
the
correct.
diagonal to the road should be up a little higher, so you come in your driveway.
Should just continue straight over to here.
Who ordered Mike Weber to survey that? Do you know?
Mr. Davis did. That's.
Oh.
And then
When
after,
we asked Alex to do it, then he must have called Mike or what?
yes,
I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't see a major issue here. I mean, wherever the pin is there, it's gotta be, whatever's right. It's been surveyed, so wherever, I was under the assuming that Alex found that pin.
there's a fence post there. A yellow, well, he says orange, to me it looks yellow, but there's a fence post and he put that temporary flag there. The other one is the right of way marker and a 3-inch railroad rail. In my experience with surveys, there's either a piece of rebar with a cap on it, a concrete monument, railroad rail, but something more than just a fence post. And once again, on any survey that I've ever been engaged with, when they put a piece of lath, normally there's some numbers, some coordinates numbers, and there's no coordinates numbers on this piece of lath.
Okay, so we surely don't, either one of us don't want a lot of complications here or legal action or whatever it may be. So I think, well, it sounds to me that we should have Mike Weber complete that survey.
I would appreciate that. I didn't want to take it upon myself to move that piece of lath. I didn't think it was right or
No, I
legal.
would do that.
I'm not a surveyor, I'm not licensed, but I
Did you talk to Mr. Weber, Mike, and did he indicate to you how long the time frame it would take for him to complete that?
he said, once again, he's swamped. I've actually on a different project, it took a couple months to get a surveyor in, but he said it was on the list to do next or close to the next project. And like I said, he already did all the legwork, so it could be done rather quickly, I believe.
So I don't know what the rest of the board here thinks about that or what your opinion is.
I think we need to know definitively where the boundaries sit.
Yeah. If
You
you were
know.
gonna sell it.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I've put my driveway in there and according to where this, where that marker is, I don't own my driveway.
I don't think it's gonna bother us or the potential buyer either way of where that's located right now. I mean, that extra 10 feet or 20 feet, whatever it may be, what estimate would it be? I don't know that that's gonna,
Yeah, we can say that all day long, we don't know.
I get it.
Potential buyer.
Understood. I just wanna alleviate a problem before. it
well,
becomes-
and we don't want any issues either. I mean, we wanna sell what we have and what's legally ours, and that's what we wanna do it right. Yeah.
And part of the confusion was, 2 or 3 years ago, there was an accident there. The car took out my address sign. And they were supposed to put up a new one, the 911 green sign,
Mhm.
and no one replaced it. I went down since this and messed around and found the old one, and I have it sitting up there. But to a potential buyer, if you were to pull up there, it looks like a westerly access to the Welcome Center property. And like I said, I just don't want somebody to come in and be like, hey, this is my road. I just understand that some people presume that that's the way it is, and I don't wanna, I wanna address the problem before it becomes the
Well,
problem.
we appreciate you coming in and bringing it forward to our attention, and I would. If I were you, I'd go directly over to the engineer's office and ask them about your 911 sign.
Okay. Perfect.
I mean, they're in charge of that, I believe, if I'm correct, and if it's not there, it should be there for emergency personnel.
Right, I agree.
Okay, so we need to address that.
Okay.
Do you live on,
No, it's vacant property. It's actually in a forestry program right now. There's no buildings on it, just access to it and. I don't know.
We certainly need to get that rendered for,
doesn't have to have a 911?
As soon as I put in the driveway, they installed it. I can't, it
if there
should say
was
what it
one
is.
there should be one put back up.
It's 6, I can't remember. but I know
It's all right.
starts out
I would
6.
just ask them about it, what their policy is and.
Yes, you said Mike was doing it and then Alan or whatever said he didn't need. to.
Alex is our
Alex.
assistant engineer.
Okay, and why did he say the appraisal or the survey needed to stop?
I assume that he thought that he had found what he needed. Yeah.
Okay.
I think, and if you scroll. Scroll that down a little bit, will you, Bjorn? Down so I can see the northeast corner. So I was assuming along that driveway, that northeast corner up on top there. That one there, I was assuming that, I was told that was the only pit he couldn't find.
I was told the same thing.
So I guess we need to check.
Mr. Weber
I can-
told me that the most recent survey that was completed there was for this property to the right that now is part of Miss McCully's property. He said that it is 16 feet to the south of the right of way marker that I was trying to say where it really should be, and that really shouldn't be there because that is 16 feet more into the right of way.
So when we had Alex do that, I mean, he does that and that's his job, of course, but if he didn't find the pins or whatever, we can have a conversation with Alex, but I think we want an impartial party to complete this.
Okay.
That's my feelings and, is it our position to, inform Mr. Weber to complete it?
Yeah, if that's the wishes of the board, somebody needs to get a hold of Mike and tell him to go ahead and complete the survey.
Okay, we will discuss that and move forward.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you. Did you sign in here?
Yes, sir, I did.
Thank you. Okay. Back to Lisa, are you ready for this?
I am. Morning, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the January 10th, 2023 board proceedings as written by Auditor Smith and authorized publication in the official newspapers.
I'll make that one.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes for the January 10th meeting as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed nay. Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve and authorize the auditor's office to issue warrants for the publication of the claims listing in the amount of $1,148,896.12.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second to approve the claims in the amount that was mentioned. Just a note, a side note to that, there was 450,000 in our jail. That was paid out. There was 320,000 in bridges and 15,000 or so in rock. So I guess with them payouts means progress. So we are progressing and moving forward. Otherwise, it's kind of scary number. All those in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Motion needed to approve the renewal of a Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service to Obies at 3610 173rd Avenue, Macokota, effective from March 1st, 2023 through February 29th, 2024.
Moved.
A motion and a second to approve the renewal of the liquor license, Class C liquor retail alcohol license to Obies as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Motion needed to approve invoices for $16,279.32 to Midwest Construction Consultants, Inc. $421,497.21 to Builders Builders, $7,600 to Kraus Plumbing and Heating, $28,500 to Rock River Electric, $322.20 to Republic Services, for a total cost of $474,198.73. Of this total, $140,500 will be paid from the American Rescue Funds, and authorize the chair's signature on the project cost recap for the Law Enforcement Center for the month ending December 31st, 2022.
I'll make that motion to approve all the above mentioned.
Second. Now, is this what you were talking about, your numbers, or those were separate?
Yeah, mine was just round numbers.
Okay,
I was just pulling.
So
off
these
the
numbers are part of the 1.1 million.
okay.
Yeah.
Correct. So I have a motion and a second to approve the invoices as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carried. Do you have that recap? Do we have a copy of that recap sheet, by the way? You have it.
This is it.
Just the main page?
The page that, yeah, I mean, I've got there's several copies here. And I want you to sign 2 copies at the end of the meeting. Or do you want to look at them right now?
No, we're good.
Okay. I also need a motion to approve invoices for $3,727.05 to Midwest Construction Consultants, Inc. $1,392.40 to Shore Bonifazzi, $2,087.50 to Team Services, $89.53 to Republic Services, for a total cost of $7,296.48. And authorize the chair's signature on the project cost recap for the Jackson County Fair and ISU 4-H Outreach Center for the month ending December 31st, 2022. We approve these bills, but we do not pay these bills. I will deliver this packet to Dana Engel at Macokota State Bank, and then they forward it on to actually pay those bills out of their funds. These are not county funds.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second to approve the bills as presented for the outreach center. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carried.
I also need a motion this morning to approve setting a public hearing for a FY 2023 budget amendment on February 1st, 2023 at 10 a.m. We periodically, as bills come in, there is a situation in one of our departments that needs some additional money, as we have incurred some high costs. And that is what this budget amendment is for.
Kelly asked you about February 7th.
What are the wishes of the board?
She told me.
February
We're
1st.
setting the public hearing.
Because on the notice here, it does say February 7th. She's got it typed on here wrong. So February 7th, huh?
The first is a Wednesday.
Yeah, she's got the wrong date here on my notes. So February 7th at 10 a.m.
So I'll make the motion for February 7th.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to set the public hearing as amended. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
That's all that I have for the board today. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa? Luann? Are you available?
Maybe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Run through the calendar first quickly. Tonight, There's a Board of Health meeting in the conference room downstairs for any of you that wish to attend that, and it is at 7 o'clock, not at 5 o'clock. To get that correction. Wednesday, January 18th, from 8 AM to about 7 PM is the Isaac's new county officers school in West Des Moines for Don and Nin. And that continues on Thursday, January 19th, with a lovely snowstorm in the mix, so that'll be fun. Wednesday afternoon at 1 PM, we have a Jackson County Security Advisory Committee meeting in the community room. And Mike will be handling that as he has been, because Nin will be in Des Moines. Thursday, January 19th at 6 PM is a Limestone Bluffs RC&D meeting by Zoom for Don. And you thought maybe you could handle that from Des Moines?
I talked to Stephanie about that. Most likely at that time I should be driving home, and just depending on the connectivity, I'll try to zoom in. There is Zoom capability, but depending on how the weather is, and
Right.
reception and all that.
Okay,
So that meeting's recorded, I would take it too, is that correct? So you.
if you're doing a Zoom, I don't know that she does. but you
Watch
could.
it If you need any information. Thank you.
Okay, Friday, January 20th at 10 AM is a 7th Judicial Department of Corrections meeting in Davenport for Nin. And I also have on there a 12:30 budget work session, but you can cross that out. I was moving pretty fast on Monday morning trying to get this out, so that is not gonna happen. Monday, January 23rd at 4 PM is the Early Childhood Iowa Council meeting in DeWitt, also for Nin. And our next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, January 24th at 9 AM. And that evening at 6 PM is the Jackson County Conference Board meeting, downstairs in the committee room for all of you.
And that work session on the 24th, I cleared my afternoon schedule so we can work all afternoon. If they like at 4 o'clock or whatever.
Right. And we talked about the 25th.
No, the 24th,
Thursday.
and then the 26th, we can do in the afternoon when we get back from the CIA and our RPA. And then the 31st, I also did the same on Tuesday. I cleared that afternoon till 4 o'clock.
Okay,
So if we need to, we got that available as well.
all right, let's start finding
Actually,
people to fill those in, that's right.
Provided that we're all available.
We'll have them come in. They're out of time to figure it out, so. Okay, for business today, I was going to do the appointments of the HTV committee, but they are not ready, so that we have to, table till whenever they get that done. The same thing I think is true for the waste authority. Frank has got most of, but he hasn't given us a resolution. He sent us some of the names, but I don't think he gave us a full resolution.
I have a resolution.
You have a resolution,
I
okay,
have
so
a
then
resolution prepared.
all right, so we can go ahead and do that then.
So I have resolution 938-01-17-2023.
And can you give us names, or how do you want to do it? Can we
This
see
is
it
the-
actually, or?
And actually, only one of them at the supervisor's appointment.
Right, and I think I've seen these and I'm aware of there's, I think there's only one new appointment, correct?
This is the original resolution and this is the copy.
What's the new name?
So Jim Rowling is back on for Prairie Springs, Richland, Tatumore, Lamont and Saint Donatus. There was a Manders on previously, she denied to be reappointed, and Jim has been on that board for umpteen years, and he agreed to do it again.
Dennis Driscoll is also. in.
Dennis Driscoll is also a new name for Van Buren, Washington Township, and City of Preston. And I sit on that board as an ex officio. I don't really have a vote, but I get to chime in.
So I believe that if this resolution is to appoint Gene Cosell, Carrie Brown, James Rowling, Brian Brady Camp, Kent Clausen, Dennis Driscoll, Jennifer Mashandi, Tom Meserly, and ex officio Mike Steinis for a 2-year term from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2024.
Is it normally to have them all expire at the same time, or? Usually boards are staggered half and half or whatever, but.
We've always done it by a single resolution,
So
so
moved.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 938-01-17-2023 as presented. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
okay, the next business I have is some reappointments, and they'll be in the appointment section of your binder. The lists of these committees. So the first reappointment is to the Pioneer Cemetery Commission. With a term to expire on December 31st of 2025, and that's for George Doherty.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the appointment of George Dory to the Planning Board Cemetery Commission expiring 12/31 of 25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Aye.
I'm also looking for a motion to reappoint Shirley Peterson as a Sebula benefited fire district trustee for the term to expire on 12/31/2025.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to appoint Shirley Peterson to the Seville Benefited Fire District trustee to expire 12/31 of 25. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
And I'm also looking to reappoint Don Wentworth and Bart Cast to the Historic Preservation Commission. Also with terms to expire on December 31st of 2025.
So moved. Or second.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Don Wentworth and Barb Cass to the Historic Preservation Commission expiring 12/31 of 25 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
We still have a couple vacancies there.
Motion carried.
We do. We
We
have,
normally have a couple on that.
right, we had 4 resignations from that in the last.
So
month
you
of the
guys,
year.
good individuals that are interested, you just go solicit.
And I believe I sent you out the reference guide, so that's what you can hand out to them. It tells them when they meet, how often they meet, and what the requirements are for the position. If you have any questions, they can call me or they can call my brother, they can call Don. He will tell them exactly what they need to know. And
Okay, anything else?
I think that's all I have for today.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other reports for boards and commissions?
The Cook River Water Management Authority did meet, and they're talking about some things they're doing up by the monastery and things like that. But just trying to get a handle on what they're doing and what the projects are and things, but it was going good. It was a good conversation, so.
Yeah, that we built, met last night, they're basically trying to pick their wall cover and color and their precast.
Okay. I don't know what I have left. I don't really have any reports, I don't think. Of great importance. So, we have a scheduled closed session at 11, so would we go into recess? Until that time, and we can do budget work sessions in between. So, any other business before the board at this time? We would go into recess. So we are back, we will reconvene at this time, our regular weekly meeting. And we have a request to go into closed session in compliance with the state law as in negotiating a real estate contract. What is the wishes of the board?
I'll make that motion that we go into closed session.
I second it.
Have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. I would ask anybody else in the room that is not associated with the closed session to remove themselves, please. At this time, we will reconvene our meeting for
Hey, how are
the
you?
17th of
I am good.
January.
The guys want to know if-
And again, we're in the work session. Well, to make a statement for the closed session that we were in, we are in discussion and in negotiations yet for the sale of the property, our welcome, what we call the Welcome Center. So we will disclose all the information we have when we have an agreement with prospective buyer. So that was our closed session.
Are you going to make a motion to, with anything in regards to that?
What do you mean by motion? Okay, yeah.
I would make a motion, we proceed as discussed in closed session.
I will second that.
And I guess that would include that we made a counter offer, correct?
So the way that I have it written is to counter offer to the potential buyer for the Jackson County Welcome Center as discussed in the closed session per Iowa Code, section 21.5, parent 1, parent J.
I believe that was the motion.
That's exactly what he said.
I wondered that.
And I would
yes.
second that.
I have a motion and a second to proceed with the sale of the Welcome Center. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carried.
And are you going to adjourn the meeting or
I'm sorry?
are you going to adjourn the meeting now?
Yes.
Oh, we're in a work session. We can. Yeah, I think we should.
Second.
With that all said, I think I have a motion and a second to adjourn our regular meeting. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carried. Thank you.